Saylor just revealed that every major bank is privately asking him how to buy Bitcoin. And once you hear what he says in this clip we're about to play for you, you might finally understand why he's been frantically buying as much Bitcoin as possible in 2025. It's really all starting to make sense why he's been projecting he wants to own 1 million Bitcoin. It's kind of nuts. As we've been asking on the show for a long time, it's like, what does he know? Well, he finally revealed it to everyone, what he's been sitting on. Let's hear from the Bitcoin MENA stage.
Major inflection point is all of the large banks in the United States have gone from not banking Bitcoin 12 months ago to, in the past 6 months, I have noted and been approached by BNY Mellon, by Wells Fargo, by Bank of America, by Charles Schwab, by JP Morgan, by Citi. They are all starting to issue credit against either Bitcoin or against Bitcoin derivatives like IBIT. And so there's a sea change here. Wells Fargo and Citi have both publicly announced intent to allow the custody of Bitcoin within the banks. In the year 2026, they'll start to extend credit.
You heard it there, guys. Literally every major bank. Now, I know from a Bitcoiner perspective, from like a hardcore perspective, you're like, who cares, man? Like, I didn't get in this for the banks to adopt Bitcoin. But as we always say, you know, Bitcoin is for enemies. And if you hear some of the earliest writings in Bitcoin, again, in particular, Hal Finney, this is kind of how it was always going to play out. And so, as I've been saying for you guys, 2025 is fundamentally that year where we did cross the Rubicon. I remember earlier in this year, I kept kind of hinting on this idea that it feels like 2025 is the year that all the institutions come in, that we do get mainstream acceptance. And yeah, and though retail hasn't really survived here, or rather hasn't really arrived here, we have noticed that fundamentally the institutions want your Bitcoin. And not only do they want your Bitcoin, but they are positioning themselves to unleash all of these Bitcoin products. And as I said, you know, Saylor's been out here frantically buying Bitcoin. Actually, when I was kind of going over this idea this morning, I was making the analogy that Saylor reminds me, and he's been in Bitcoin for what, over 4 or 5 years at this point. But Saylor reminds me of when you first get into Bitcoin and you have this feeling like Bitcoin is going to rip. And you're just trying to stack as much Bitcoin as possible because, you know, like it's going to go soon. Now, we didn't see that play out in 2025, but as we've kind of been hearing throughout the year, Saylor has been hinting on all of these ideas is like, look, some of the conversations I'm having with some of the biggest names, it's really happening now. And this is why I think he's been, you know, buying as much Bitcoin as possible, unleashing all of these different Bitcoin products so that he can position himself. And he has said he wants to get to 1 million Bitcoin. Now, for a while there, it was like, that's going to be impossible. But you got to remember, since the Trump administration came out pro Bitcoin, Saylor has stacked about 400,000 plus coins. Now, if the price stays at these levels for another 6 months, I don't think it's going to be too big of a guess to say that Saylor might actually acquire another, 350,000 coins. I think he might be on that boat. Now, I'm not alone, of course. I got Sophie with me today. Before I play another clip coming out of Bitcoin MENA, where he also dropped another bombshell about who he's talking to right now, let's start here, because Soph, I know we've been covering the news of the institutions, the banks. On one hand, it doesn't really make you feel the best. You're like, I'm here to separate money from state. But now we know that the signal has been essentially shot. Like, if you are looking at all this news right now and it doesn't make you feel like you need to own some Bitcoin, if you are a no coiner right now and you're seeing all of the biggest banks in the world, and this is basically like, oh yeah, you know, I knew I shouldn't have bought it because the banks want it now. It's really hard to see how people are looking at this and not trying to stack as much Bitcoin as possible when every signal is saying you should probably get some of this stuff right now. So actually, Sophie, I know we were talking this morning about Wall Street co-opting Bitcoin. I don't know if this is the angle you want to go on. So I'm going to just throw that out there. What's your thoughts on this, Soph?
I mean, it's not so much just that Wall Street is co-opting Bitcoin or seeing the writing on the wall. I think that we've been making that case for, you know, the longest time. I think ever since October was a total failure. But what surprises me about what Saylor is talking about, and, you know, now I understand the reason that he was so calm this entire time about, you know, we all thought, oh my God, he's going to get liquidated at 70K. What happens if that happens? And this man was just like totally cool. Even when he had that attack by JP Morgan Chase, he was like, well, that might be kind of an exaggeration. Like, he just totally took it in stride. And I think it's because the banks have absolutely humbled themselves to Saylor. They have not just bent the knee to Bitcoin, which, you know, was a no-brainer. I think anybody could see that eventually traditional finance was going to bend the knee to Bitcoin, but they've bent the knee to Saylor. They've bent the knee to the outsider, essentially. And I find that extremely interesting, because if they're capitulating to Saylor, then that means that not just Saylor is frantically buying Bitcoin, but they are too. And that could probably explain why there has been so much price manipulation. I think now we've confirmed that it's coming from inside of TradFi. And we've also seen some manipulation from the government, frankly. I mean, for our side, it's been a totally positive type of manipulation, but it is manipulation nonetheless. I mean, there are laws that are trying to be passed in favor of Bitcoin, in favor of stable coins, in favor of creating an infrastructure that supports Bitcoin. So they aren't just the banks are kind of like, I feel like they think that they're late to the game. They aren't just admitting that they want to buy Bitcoin, but they're also saying we don't know how. And when they say they don't know how, the humility that is required to ask Saylor specifically, that's the real signal that while we've been in a quote unquote bear market year, we have so much to look forward to in 2026, and this is absolutely not the end. I think that if you would have asked Bitcoiners 2 years ago if we would be happy with 94K Bitcoin, we would all be over the moon. So it's just a matter of following the, you know, the principles of long time preference and being a little bit patient, right? Because eventually they are all going to be on the same boat as us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's become very clear this year that, and I actually like the point that you said they all kind of not just bent the knee to Bitcoin, but they bent the knee to Saylor. And remember how much flack Saylor was getting? And look, I've given Saylor a lot of shit on this show. Like, I'll be, you know, I'm completely transparent on that. I do talk a lot of shit. You know, and I think everyone knows that. But I think, like, the biggest example of this was the JP Morgan kind of scenario where, you know, they fudded strategy, and then literally a week later they announced their own kind of Saylor copycat model. And now kind of it goes into what Simon Dixon was saying for a while there. He's like, look, JP Morgan is not out here attacking Michael Saylor. And now Michael Saylor himself says, like, yeah, I was having conversations with JP Morgan. So that's probably going into why he was just like, yeah, you know, my stock's kind of getting pummeled right now. You know, I get it. It's kind of like a bear market vibe. Everyone's piling on. But remember all those clips. He was very calm. He was actually almost gleeful through them. He's just like, yeah, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to issue more, you know, more shares. We're going to still buy more Bitcoin, etc. And I actually, on a kind of slightly different note, before I do cover a little more of this stuff, I like this comment right here by Rofo, and it goes, it's the opposite. Buy Bitcoin because the banks are buying. Got to get it first. And I think this is like the best signal, because there is a lot of people out there, even hardcore Bitcoiners, that are thinking, man, I'm not going to buy any more Bitcoin. Like, Wall Street's here, Bitcoin's here. Bitcoin has lost its, you know, cypherpunk revolutionary spirit. And this comment kind of hits the nail on the head. It's like, no, you should be buying more now so that you actually get the Bitcoin instead of the banks. That's what you should be doing, especially when they're out here telling you, yeah, we want to acquire as much of this as humanly possible. The only thing you can actually do, if you do believe in the cypherpunk ethos, if you do believe in the self-custody revolution, is you need to acquire more Bitcoin. Now, obviously, we don't have the capital of banks, but every sat that you do buy and take into cold storage is one less sat that the institutions and Wall Street get. So, you know, shouts out the Rofo on that, because that is literally what I was trying to say. Okay.
You know, I agree with that. I think that if Saylor is scrambling to buy 1 million Bitcoin, then you should also probably be scrambling to raise your stack as much as possible, because once institutions get their grubby little hands on Bitcoin and they start repurposing it as paper Bitcoin and selling it to your grandma and grandpa and start, you know, promoting 401ks with Bitcoin ETFs, you're gonna wish that you had more Bitcoin, whether that's for better or for worse. You're gonna wish that you had more Bitcoin.
Look at the comment.
Oh God, what?
Even Sophie is more bullish than Nico.
Damn.
Well, behind the scenes, she was actually probably more bearish.
I was having a moment. I was really scared. I was like, it's over. We're done. We're gonna have to hibernate for another 2 to 3 years. You know, the typical Penelope Cruz and that scene of Blow. What are we going to do to live? But yeah, that was me. But I'm okay now. I'm back to earth. I've been making content, so I've been drinking my own opium, getting high on my own supply, and honestly, it just, I need to take my emotions out of it and realize that all of the pieces are coming together. I need to like switch from my female brain to my male brain and just be like, all right, logically speaking, the government, traditional finance, Saylor, they are all going hard on Bitcoin. Listen, it's going to happen. You just got to have faith. You got to wait. I'm a woman of God. I have been through this before on a spiritual level, and this is what it is. It's just having a little bit of faith, and I think it's going to be okay. I really, honestly, everything that Saylor said at this conference put me back into the paradigm that we are going to possibly rip in 2026.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The chat's killing it right now. All right. Anyways, let's go a little further on this first particular news before I play you one more clip from Saylor at the Bitcoin MENA conference. I really like this response here from Caitlin Long. Obviously, you guys remember her whole kind of saga with her Custodia bank, where they basically didn't give her a bank charter because she was fully collateralized, and it said, "Oh, this isn't safe." Here's her take on this. So she is, I would argue, an insider on how banks work and how Bitcoin Bank should properly work. And now that the big banks are coming into Bitcoin, this is her take. This is fine as long as the loans never go above 1-to-1. If the banks are leveraged over 1-to-1, this is not fine. Understand the difference between commodity credit versus circulation credit. Commodity credit is fine. Circulation credit is not. So, you know, as much as Saylor has come out here, and he's been really touting this idea of digital credit, it's like, you know, it's his new kind of line here. Remember, it was like Cyber Hornets. I forget what the old stuff was. What I forget. You know, the energy of Cyber Hornets protecting the goddess of money. I forget what they were, but I did like the old Saylor isms. Now you can tell if you did watch this Bitcoin MENA conference. I think all of his kind of not just a keynote, but every presentation he had, you can kind of see a different tone and kind of a slightly different perspective of what he's doing. And I think that is because he understands that he's talking to a whole new audience. He's no longer talking to the plebs out here. He's talking to sovereign wealth funds, nation states, the institutions. And so his I don't want to say his narrative is shifted, but his kind of examples,
his tone of voice is shifted.
His examples are shifted.
It's had to shift. If you talk to these people, I'm not even going to say what was on my mind originally.
Hey, chill.
If you talk to these people in the same, with the same incentives that would drive regular people, plebs, what have you, cypherpunks into buying Bitcoin, they're going to be like, why would we want this? But if you start speaking their language and say digital asset borrowing, whatever, like mumbo jumbo, if you start packaging it up in this neat, nice little wrapping paper with a cherry on top and disguise it as the stuff that they have usually been selling to their clients, well, then it might just work for them, and that those might be their reasons for buying it. And the funny thing is that our incentives don't have to necessarily align, because Bitcoin is going to do what it's going to do. It's rooted in truth. You can't print more of it. You can't control it. You can't. But if you tell these people you're going to be super rich if you just buy a bunch of Bitcoin and repackage it and sell it however you want, but the whole point is buying more Bitcoin, and to us, smarter people, keeping it in self-custody, then, it's kind of a win-win for both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, this comment on Rumble is hilarious. He goes, what is it? Benazit? He goes, okay, it's okay to be on the same boat as long as it's not the Titanic. So as long as we're not on the Titanic, we should be good. Okay. Anyways, I do want to play one more clip.
To that point, self-custody would be the lifeboat.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Like, think about who it is that died on the Titanic. But that's a conspiracy theory for a different day. We're not here to talk about conspiracy theories.
Oh, love it. I love what Sophie's on. Okay. Next clip here. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Saylor also revealed other people that he's talking to. And I thought this was almost good enough for a show yesterday, but I'm really glad I saved it until we heard Saylor's keynote, because if you combine both of these clips together, I think he's really kind of telegraphing and projecting where things are going. It's really the first half of this clip, but since he's been talking about digital credit and all this stuff, I'm going to play the whole clip. That's kind of the reason why I didn't play it yesterday, because I'm like, look, the first part of the clip is really good. Now this whole digital credit stuff, maybe it's because I'm a 42 IQ and I can't really understand fully what he's doing. I've never been shy to say on the show that I don't fully understand what Saylor is doing. I think he's doing something that in hindsight we'll look back and be like, okay, that was genius. So I'm going to play the clip in entirety, but really connect that first clip with the first part of this clip. And then you'll kind of get, the second part of the clip might seem like it's really not related, but I do kind of think it is. So here's the second clip from Bitcoin MENA. This actually aired before his keynote speech. So again, combining these two clips together, it's hard to not stay bullish right now, even though the price has pretty much been down all year. Stablecoin, it hasn't been the best year, to be honest. But let's play the clip and we'll be right back.
So I've been meeting with, I've been obviously meeting with all the sovereign wealth funds. I've been meeting with, I don't know, 50, 100 different investors, hedge funds, family office investors that are interested. I've been meeting with banks and people that own banks or run banks. I've been meeting with fund managers that offer financial products. I've been meeting with regulators in every jurisdiction. And I think, and my message, by the way, is very, very straightforward. My message is, we now have digital capital. Bitcoin is digital capital, is digital gold. On top of digital capital, we have a new asset class called digital credit. Digital credit strips the volatility from the capital and provides yield, income. So the simple idea is, if you have a 5-year-old kid, you can give them $1 million worth of land in Manhattan, that's capital, and tell them wait 30 years and then maybe they'll be rich, but there are no cash flows. Or you can give them a credit instrument that pays them $10,000 a month forever, starting now.
It's yeah, look, crazy financial engineering, to say the least. But
I don't know what that just meant. That just put me on the other side of the bell curve.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, as a longtime Bitcoiner, anytime I hear the idea of getting yield on your Bitcoin, it's ended in a disaster. And so maybe this is, I don't know, maybe just like old thinking, like PTSD, You know, maybe I haven't updated my model and fully understood this idea of yield. I know TradFi loves this idea of yield. That's one of their biggest kind of retorts against Bitcoin is like, oh, Bitcoin's an unproductive product. It's got no yield, bro. And now Saylor seems to have figured it out, though I know a lot of people, and even some of my friends in the chat are like, it sounds like he's running a Ponzi, bro. I don't know about, even kind of Jack Mahler's almost kind of said that the other day. But I have also heard some of my friends basically tell me, like, yeah, the MSTY product, 10% a month, bro. Like, I just give them some Bitcoin. I don't even work a job. I make a good income, and I'm like, yo, hey, teach me about this a little bit. So look, it is very intriguing to say the least, but this whole idea that he's kind of on, again, he is talking to a whole new audience, so he is probably tailoring all these products, as I've been saying, for TradFi institutions, for people that are a bit more critical of Bitcoin and kind of giving them what they want. And again, I don't have the IQ level or the experience from Wall Street to really kind of judge these products. Again, I learned all of my knowledge through the lens of Bitcoin. And so this is one of those points where I know I need to kind of like really dive down and understand this. Is like, is this actually a viable product? Can this actually work out? Because I have seen a lot of friends do it. But you can tell if you connect the first clip with this clip, he said one very specific trend. He's like, I've been talking to everyone, literally everyone who is anyone with any capital is getting interested in Bitcoin right now, and you're still bearish. Like, Saylor has been knowing about this for months. This is why he's been so calm, even though he's kind of been getting blasted right now in his stock portfolio. He's still acquiring Bitcoin, but the stock hasn't been looking too good. He is kind of getting attacked from all sides. But this is how you know that there is some crazy stuff coming down the pipeline. And this is how I've kind of maintained my bullishness throughout this year into 2026, is just looking at all the news. And before I had Saylor basically tell me what I've kind of intuitively understood, is that with all the news we've seen this year, it's just very hard for me to believe that with them, and by them, I mean the institutions, the hedge funds, the nation states, the sovereign wealth funds, the banks, with all them trying to scramble to launch Bitcoin products, scramble to buy Bitcoin, acquire Bitcoin. You're telling me that 2026 is going to be a negative 80% bear market? I'm like, it just makes no sense with the amount of Bitcoin that they are, and I will do scare quotes, allegedly buying here. I know it's paper Bitcoin summer, but with the amount of Bitcoin that even Saylor himself is buying, it's just, it's going to overwhelm the amount of coins that eventually are going to be sold by the whales, by retail, and then of course by the amount of Bitcoin that gets issued block by block. There's going to be a breaking point here soon, and I think 2026 is probably going to be that year, since we've had such a weird 2024 2025, I don't want to say cycle, but year, like from last year into this year. Obviously all our models are broken. We're really not fully understanding what's going on. But as I said yesterday, or maybe it was Friday, as the years gone along more and more, and we kind of have more data and we start to see more of the playbook being unleashed or maybe leaked, it just makes me think like 2026 is going to continue to go up. And the fact, not just because they're saying it's going to go up. All the buying. All right, we're back. We're gonna make it, bros. We're gonna make it. Anyway, so you want to add on this, or we could keep the show moving?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out a sophisticated way of explaining this. There's this website, right, that you probably know of better than I do, where you put in your Bitcoin stack, and then your year-over-year interest, or sorry, not interest, the inflation in your country, and how much money essentially you need to live year over year. And then eventually, as time progresses, you reach like your Bitcoin day, and you can survive.
Oh,
off
it's
of
the retirement calculators.
Yeah, it's like a retirement calculator, but it's called something specific. I don't know. Nico and I have like tried it out just for fun. Um and the reason I bring that up is because I think that this is a concept that banks and institutions are starting to understand. And I think that's why they are so aggressively trying to create this bubble around the ETFs and why they're trying to launch them so hard. I think that they know that the more Bitcoin they have in self custody, the more powerful they are. And then the more they can sell their ETFs so that they can profit off of selling the ETFs and the yield that Bitcoin naturally produces. Does that make sense the way that I'm saying it? Or no? Yeah, Opti's looking at me weird.
No,
Absolutely
no,
not.
I don't want to say it on the stream again because I told you I wasn't going to do that.
Oh, you
But
weren't listening to me.
I did it
I'm
again.
dead. I'm
I was
dead.
looking
I'm
at the
dead.
chat. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Repeat it simply one more time. Sorry.
Banks want to keep Bitcoin in self custody so that they can sell you paper Bitcoin and make money off of your buying paper Bitcoin.
Yes, yes, 100%.
And so that's like, I mean, eventually one day you could become the bank by holding Bitcoin in self custody. Eventually you could be that powerful. And I think that they very much understand that. I think Saylor understands that. I think that's why everybody is trying to have a Bitcoin treasury company right now. I think that's why they're calling it kind of like the ICO of this cycle. And I think that's why Saylor is going to be successful because he understands that he can make money off of just keeping Bitcoin in self custody. And he's telling us to our faces what he's doing. Now, the thing is, are people going to take the convenient route of keeping, of buying Bitcoin from the banks and letting them keep profiting off of your money the way that fiat has done for a long time now? Or are you going to break the cycle and keep your Bitcoin in self custody? This is why we talk about it and we make such an emphasis on it. It's not just, we want you to opt out for no reason. We want you to opt out so that you can like enjoy your grandkids and possibly like retire early and not have to deal with all of this nicely packaged garbage, because that's essentially what it is. You're buying paper Bitcoin, you're buying something that isn't really the real thing. It's like people who buy gold over the stock market. You're not actually buying gold. You're not buying the bars of gold. You're buying the the gold that the guy from Binance was giving Peter Schiff the other day. It's like not real. Um and that's why we encourage you to take Bitcoin into self custody, because what Saylor said about, buying land in Manhattan 100 years ago, it's an analogy that most people can understand, and then having it produce yield right away. He's telling you to your face what it is that he is doing himself and what banks are asking him about himself. And if you don't understand that, if you think that banks are just in it because, oh, Bitcoin is a hard asset and it's a hedge against inflation. No, 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 no. These people are the most powerful people in the world, and all they want is to get more powerful over time. And they see this as a tool to get more powerful over time. And while it might seem like a win-win for you and them, it's actually a bigger win for them over time because they get that yield instantly. That's how Bitcoin works. And if you haven't seen that calculator, I highly encourage you to look at it. I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure someone in the comments will figure it out.
Yeah, I think we put it on the show before, but I'm blanking on
the name, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
blanking
don't
on what the
remember the
website
name.
was. But to a couple of your points, yeah, I mean, I'm fully convinced that as this year's progressed, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Saylor or if it was Croesus earlier in the year. Maybe it was the end of last year, but there was kind of this idea that at a certain point, once Bitcoin is kind of not necessarily the world reserve currency, but when it is so prominently accepted, when all the banks really want Bitcoin, they're going to be looking for Bitcoin. And since there really isn't that much Bitcoin left, there's going to be a point where they're essentially coming to Bitcoiners and paying us to, you know, like paying us a lot so that they can use that Bitcoin. It's like what a savings account used to be. Like they'll actually pay you for your productive assets, even though productive assets might be different.
I think that is exactly what happened in October and November of this year. I think that's why these months kind of got cut short. to put it lightly. I think we saw it, a bunch of OGs were selling massive amounts of Bitcoin, and I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for those conversations, because I genuinely think that they sold it to these large institutions, maybe at a premium even, because they saw the opportunity and the writing on the wall.
Yeah, totally. I think I totally agree with that. So Sophie, wait, there already is a SoFi bank. Sophie bank soon, Opti bank soon, Simply Bitcoin chat bank soon. No, we won't be doing that. Anyways.
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Like, no, not us personally, but I think individuals in general, I think that person has the right idea. I think individuals in general might start decentralizing finance as we know it. And I think that's what the banks want to try to avoid by all means necessary. That's why they're trying to front run us. But the reality is that a lot of us have already seen the writing on the wall. We already hold Bitcoin in self-custody. And now, you know, our patience is being tested. We are trying to get shaken out by the very system that we are opting out of. And you just got to keep fighting. This is the peaceful revolution, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to fight.
Yeah, totally. And wow, I just blanked on the last part. What did you say? I wanted to respond. I got distracted in the chat, and I had a good response to this. And
just because it's the peaceful revolution doesn't mean that you don't have to fight.
No, it was before that.
Well,
anyways, whatever.
That's on you for not listening.
No, it wasn't that I wasn't listening. I actually was listening, and I was gonna have a good response, but I completely blanked on what I wanted to say. Anyways, guys,
Opti had a very good weekend this weekend.
Hey, yo, chill. Hey, yo, stay out of my business, Sophie. Sheesh. Man, there was something I wanted to say. Anyways, whatever. It'll come back to me later. Of course, guys, before I keep the show going, I want to remind you to smash the like button, comment on the show, let us know what you think, and of course, hit the subscribe. If you like Sophie over here, she's dropping content. We also have Dante and Rustin and Ocean's dropping content. We drop the most content, guys. Anyways, also, huge shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Well. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simply and get yourself some Bitcoin, guys. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin because they never hold your Bitcoin. They will never lose your Bitcoin because, again, it goes straight into your cold storage. So once your dollar's clear, it goes straight into your Bitcoin wallet. This is the best way to buy Bitcoin because, again, we are self-custody maxis here. We believe the revolution is in self-custody. As we kind of explained in the beginning, there is a war going on right now between Wall Street custodial products and Bitcoin held in self-custody. And I truly believe that the only way to really survive what's coming is you need to have control over your Bitcoin. Stop giving control of your money over to someone else. That's why we've gotten in this position in the first place. So you need to use a self-custody by default platform, aka Bitcoin Well. Use the promo code SimplyBTC and you will win 3 chances to win 1,000,000 sats. That's right. They're giving out free money if you play in the Bitcoin. Wishing well. All right, guys, I'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Alrighty then, guys, we are back. The current Bitcoin price is $93,950. I repeat, $93,950. We are back above 93, guys. If we can hold on to 93K, I'm like going to be stupidly bullish on the show. Obviously, my next number is 108. If we break 108, I think it's game on. But if we can hold on to this 93, I think it's pretty healthy, guys. It's looking a little frothy. Anyways, we are at a negative 25.5% discount from all-time high, and the market cap is currently 1.88 trillion. We're climbing back to 2 trillion. And then, of course, really the only time that matters on planet Earth is the block height, and we are currently at 927,156. Again, TikTok next block. All right, guys. So this next clip, first of all, you know, what's up? What's up with Dasha, though? Dasha Burns, hello. Anyway, hey,
I like her
Dasha,
hair.
Hello. Anyways.
One's in the chat if you miss me being blonde.
anyways. We've been covering on this show for a while, actually basically all year, the war between the Trump administration or the Treasury Secretary versus the Fed. Trump versus Jay Powell, Scott Bessent versus Jay Powell. And recently, as we've been covering on the show, it seems like we might be getting a, ex-Coinbase advisor to replace Jay Powell. And Trump just did this interview, and obviously, if Trump is able to kind of corral the Fed and really put them under their kind of control, then we all know what he wants to do. He wants to cut interest rates, obviously, increase liquidity into the system, QE by any other name. Well, in this interview, he got asked point blank if this is what he wants to do, and he pretty much said so. So let's listen to this real quick. It's short. It's like 20 seconds, and we'll be right back and cover this a little bit.
I want to ask about interest rates because a lot of Americans agree with you that they're too high. You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump.
Yo, hey, he still got it, guys. He still kind of got it.
Say what you want about Trump, but the man is entertaining.
Yeah, he is hilarious.
A natural-born comedian. So entertaining.
Yeah, 100%. Now, okay, the reason I'm bringing this up is obviously we are going to see tomorrow whether we get rate cuts. I think it's almost a lock-in. I didn't look at the poly market odds this morning, but I think the consensus right now is it's not so much if we're going to get rate cuts, it's just how much are we going to get rate cuts. And obviously, as he kind of leaked in that, maybe telegraphed a little bit, he is going to pick a new Fed chair. A lot of people in the cabinet have been saying it's going to happen by end of year. There's been a lot of rumors saying that Jay Powell is going to resign the beginning of the year. I highly doubt he will resign considering that his tenure's up in April. So, I'm pretty sure he'll be in his position until April. Who knows what happens? Obviously, political circus and all that stuff. But what we do know is the next Fed chair, basically the guy to replace Jerome Powell, is most likely going to be a Trump guy. And right now, as I've been saying, the odds are that Coinbase ex-Coinbase advisor Kevin Hassett seems to be the leader on this. And he has been around doing the rounds, basically saying that it's time to cautiously start cutting rates. Again, cautiously start cutting rates. Who knows what that means? It could still be an aggressive rate cut schedule, but it could be kind of, 25 bips here, 25 bips there. A lot of people, I think he even said a couple of weeks ago that the Fed should cut like 100 bips this month. So tomorrow we'll see if that happens. We're going to see. I think rate cuts are pretty much locked in. But again, as I've been telling you guys all year long, look, Trump is kind of hilarious. He is sort of like low-key bipolar sometimes. Sometimes the tariffs are on, sometimes they're off. One moment we're in a trade war, next minute we're not in a trade war. There's been a lot of conflicting information coming out of the Trump administration. So the not only the whole world, but all of the world's economics are kind of in this weird purgatory right now, because we really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this week is going to be the same as next week. But one thing has maintained the same throughout the whole year. Trump really wants rate cuts. He wants cheaper money. He wants more liquidity. And now we know for a fact that the next guy that comes in is most likely going to be all on board on the Mar-a-Lago Accords, aka cut rates, increase liquidity. We all know QT just ended a couple days ago. The money printer is about to go into overdrive, guys. This is like they've been saying this without saying it for the whole year. Now it's becoming very obvious that this is the case. If it is Kevin Hassett as the next chair of the Fed, obviously, I guess you could argue kind of a Bitcoiner. Maybe the Bitcoiners are taking over the Fed, but I guess first step is taking over the Fed. So, baby steps here.
I mean, what better way to end the Fed but to show people that we can just print money into oblivion? What better way to show people that this model is dead than to print money for free that you have to work for, as Nico always said. And remember, Trump is between a rock and a hard place. The GOP has to have midterms next year, and people are really pissed off with the party. A lot of people who voted for Trump are extremely dissatisfied with his presidency. It is not at all what people thought it would be. And if the economy doesn't rebound, then the GOP is going to lose. I mean, I don't know what magic he's going to pull out of his you-know-what, but he's got to do something. And I think that at this point, having Kevin Hassett be the new Fed chair is kind of like a Hail Mary. And even then, like, who knows how this is going to actually affect the economy. I think this is going to be great for Bitcoin. And, don't forget that him and his family have a personal vested interest in Bitcoin. But how is this going to affect the rest of the country? We don't know. I'm hoping that it's a positive thing.
Well, I mean, if a few things. First off, we've been saying rate cuts are going to be very positive all year. Every time they did it, the Bitcoin price dropped. So
yeah,
I think in the short term, it might not be the best. So there might be some volatility, but in the long run, what Sophie said is true. We all know what is going to happen. They're going to increase the money printer. They're going to increase liquidity. All that's going to eventually find a home. We think Bitcoin's going to go up because of that. So in the short term, the Fed rate cuts haven't actually been that bullish when they happen, but they've been bullish in the long term afterwards. So I think that's what's going to play out. Probably play out tomorrow.
I think what Trump is looking for is just like a headline. Right? He just needs good press at this point because everything has been against him. And I'm talking about this as someone who witnessed him go through Russiagate, get impeached twice. I don't think I've ever seen so many people, especially on his side, be against Trump. And it's because he has no room to stand or no leg to stand on anymore. He can't just blame all of this on the Democrats. He has the House. He has the Senate. It's his administration. He won the presidency. So what is going on? And the thing that he ran on, which was improving the economy, he is really not delivering on that promise. I mean, he literally he decreased the rates, the interest rates, and somehow the price of housing just kept going up. We know how that works. We understand how inflation works. We understand how fiat works. And it's to our benefit. It's to the benefit of Bitcoiners and people holding hard assets. But how does that affect the daily person, like the normal average person? And that's kind of the concern that I have with him cutting rates. I mean, obviously, like on a selfish level would be great, but how is this going to affect the economy for real?
Yeah, and to your point, again, I don't really believe the official data and the polling out there, but I did just see a recent poll, and I believe it was on CNN. So again, take it with a grain of salt here. It's probably not totally factually correct, but they did just have a headline that said like 75% of Americans are not happy with the economy. And if that is the case, you know, again, I'm taking that as a given here, an assumption. If that is the case, what we've been saying the last few weeks, like they really do have an uphill battle here because look, Republicans usually run on a better economy. And if the economy is getting worse, they're going to get absolutely cooked in the midterms. And then anything that happens after the midterms, anything that the Trump administration wanted to do with Bitcoin or any other kind of, you know, legislation that they had on board or in mind, it's not going to happen. It's totally over.
But then here's the other side of that coin. What if the people who are his biggest donors have to gain from this? Because remember, when they made the biggest rate cuts back in 2021, when, you know, the whole pandemic happened, like a lot of people became very wealthy overnight, especially people in real estate, especially people invested in the S&P 500, etc. And, you know, that was great for them. And so what if these rate cuts are benefiting the very, very tiny, you know, small percentage at the top and the people who are actually running our politics?
Wait, what if?
What if? Yeah. Well,
crazy extremist over here.
Well,
what if?
I'm just asking questions. I can't actually.
Yeah.
Make
Wait. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It was a rhetorical question. Rhetorical.
I actually am not allowed to make any bold statement. My opinions
Look,
are my own, not the opinions of Simply Bitcoin.
I mean, I love how it was rhetorical. I would argue that we're probably seeing the politicians raid the coffers right now, and it's becoming very obvious because everyone is getting poorer. So look, anyways, let's keep it moving because we do have, again, guys, I said it yesterday. We have a lot of news coming out of the banks right now, and it really does go into what Saylor was saying. And then not only that, but we do have some recent news coming out of the regulatory front, which on its surface is, you could say, maybe a little shitcoiny, but I think this will eventually lead to what a lot of us Bitcoiners have been saying for a while, that Bitcoin is pristine collateral. So 1 second and we'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
Hi, everybody. If you're tired of my husband yelling at you to buy a BitKey, here's me telling you in a very, very soft voice that BitKey is the easiest hardware wallet that you will ever use. Scan the QR code below for a discount for your friends and family this holiday.
Yo.
It's good every time, okay?
Okay, all right, okay.
ASMR time. Let's go.
Yeah, and people actually like it, which is funny. Okay, anyways, let's get a little serious here. So seriously serious here. First bit of news here is PNC becomes the first major bank to launch a direct Bitcoin access for its clients, powered by Coinbase's quote crypto as a service infrastructure. So they just announced that they launched direct spot Bitcoin trading capabilities for their eligible clients. I think big point here, eligible clients for PNC Private Bank. Now, you may not know PNC. They're not the biggest bank. They're like the 7th largest bank. They hold about $500 billion of assets, but it is technically the first major bank to unleash, quote, direct spot Bitcoin trading capabilities. Again, it's for a quote eligible client, which is a trend we've seen throughout this whole year and started last year. That first they unleashed this to usually their high net worth individuals, you know, the high net worth clients, and then eventually they'll let the peasants get it afterwards. It seems to be that this is what they're doing again. But hey, you know, announcements coming from the bank, as I've been telling you guys all this week and all of last week. Every bank since JP Morgan came out and offered their, you know, strategy copycat is now positioning themselves. They seem to be launching these Bitcoin products like, you know, dominoes falling. As Saylor said in the beginning of the show, every major bank, every hedge fund, sovereign wealth fund in the world has been talking to him. And now it's finally happened. Now, my biggest question to this, and I don't know if I want to read any of the quotes in here, but you know, it's kind of just like standard.
Hey guys, I want to tell you a little secret. Ready? Coming closer. You can just buy Bitcoin. You don't have to be a high net worth individual. You don't even have to buy a whole entire Bitcoin. You can just buy Bitcoin and keep it in self-custody.
Yes.
And let all the rest of the people buying paper Bitcoin have fun staying poor.
100%. Here, actually, I will read a little more of this because there's a couple interesting, you know, you can kind of really see what they want to do.
These people are crazy. Like, these people are insane. I'm actually like kind of about to crash out on this.
Okay,
like,
okay, all right.
Eligible. You have to be an eligible client to buy this super exclusive Bitcoin ETF. Like, are you okay? Like, I'm sorry. Are people really that lazy?
I think so.
Like, just buy Bitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin. Just literally like buy Bitcoin. And if your family doesn't know how to do it, buy Bitcoin for them.
Well, I think what is most interesting, and I am going to read a couple of comments here, or sorry, a couple of the quotes from this press release before I do have some other news here. But what I do find to be the most interesting, it is kind of what Sophie just said. it really does blow my mind that a lot of people out there are still kind of waiting for their, you know, asset manager, their money manager to give them the green light to go into Bitcoin. And
It's crazy.
yeah, and then what's more interesting to me is even though they are coming out and saying all of this, it doesn't seem to be moving the needle like we thought it would in the past. You'd think that like the BlackRock asset managers, the Vanguards, the JP Morgans, and all of them coming out and talking to their clients and be like, hey, you should probably have like 1 to 4% of Bitcoin in your portfolio. You'd think that more people would start to understand this.
Well, why would they do that? It would make their jobs obsolete.
Well, but the thing is they are shilling it. They still are shilling it.
They're shilling.
I mean, of course, but still, even though they're shilling,
they're not going to tell you to buy Bitcoin unless they can make money off of.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
And you buying Bitcoin, this is the beautiful thing about it. Like they figured it out. They figured it out. They figured out how to package Bitcoin in a way where it's like, no. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to go. That self-custody thing, that's too complicated for your tiny little pea brain that doesn't even know how to trade in the US stock exchange. They think you're stupid and they want your money.
Yeah, but further, people don't even seem to be buying it, which is kind of the point where I was like, look, they're shilling it and people still don't even seem to want it, which is just crazy to me. Anyway, I do want to read a little bit of this before I move on because it's going to make Sophie crash out even more. It goes, the first generation of PNC's new crypto for clients, quote, solution integrates Coinbase's institutional grade CAAS infrastructure within the PNC private bank online platform. Through Portfolio View, eligible clients can now access crypto custody capabilities to directly buy, hold, and sell Bitcoin. With more than 100 offices and serving high and ultra high net worth clients, PNC Private Bank is positioned to offer its client base access to the digital asset economy. Nice. Love to see it. Hey, if you're rich, you get first dibs on Bitcoin. If you're just an average person like us, you don't go through the bank to buy the Bitcoin. You just buy the Bitcoin, but you love how they kind of try to separate the two.
This is like the last thing that boomers are doing in the world to just like be like, F you, we're out. As for our final act, we're going to make all these institutions even more rich than we've made them before by giving them our money to buy Bitcoin and continue to keep control over the world. Bye. In the grave.
Okay. I want to keep it moving.
Instead of just give that money to your kids so that they can buy you Bitcoin, so that they can like help you, like your actual family members that will actually take care of you until this is why so many of them are in retirement homes. If you don't want to end up in a retirement home, give your money to your crazy Bitcoiner child who you see as a child but is actually 35 and living at your house, and let them buy you Bitcoin so that you can be rich and powerful. And so then one day they might be rich for their kids and give them the same things that you maybe gave your kids. I don't know. It seems like you hate them. It seems like you hate them for giving your money to the banks that have literally screwed you over. They've just been leeching off of your bank accounts forever. And you're too dumb to realize it.
Yeah, Boomer's final act. F them.
Yeah,
wait, Boomer's
like,
sorry, I muted myself.
seriously.
I meant to mute Sophie. I said Boomer's final act. Just F them, kid. Don't care. Yeah, that was good. Good crash out, so good crash out. Okay, all right. Let me keep it moving because I do want to cover this on today's show. We are getting a little late on this one. So here is the next.
We're having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Smash the like button if you're having fun and if you like me crashing out. And also check out our merch store. If you want this super comfortable hoodie, it's very warm. I'm actually sweating my life away.
Which size is this? Is this large on you?
This is
a large or extra large?
It's an extra large. This is an extra large.
Oversized.
Yeah, definitely go with the oversized. So comfortable. Also, we're out of large, so don't order that. Don't order that.
Yeah, we'll deal with that behind the scenes. Anyways, here we go. So we just got this note coming out of the CFTC. Again, as I've been telling you last week, it does seem like the SEC and the CFTC are kind of working together to give us some, as they always say, clear rules of the road. Wow. That was a tongue twister for a little bit. Anyways, we got acting chairman Pham announces launch of digital assets pilot program for tokenized collateral in derivatives markets. Now, my initial reading of this is like, oh, okay, they're going to tokenize all the things. And I think that is probably the initial read of this. But I think it all will eventually lead to Bitcoin in due time. So CFTC acting chairman Caroline D. Pham today announced the launch of a digital assets pilot program for certain digital assets, including Bitcoin, ETH, and USDC. Very interesting that they added USDC in particular, but that's a whole nother can of worms. To be used as collateral in derivatives market. Guidance on tokenized collateral and withdrawal of outdated requirements given the enactment of the Genius Act. So it is going to be hinging on whether they can pass the Genius Act. But today's announcement marks a significant milestone in the expanded adoption of digital assets in regulated markets with appropriate guardrails and follows a tokenized collateral initiative acting chairman Pham launched in September as part of CFTC's crypto sprint to implement recommendations in the president's working group on digital assets market report. Quote, under my leadership this year, the CFTC has led the way forward into America's golden age of innovation in crypto. This imperative has never been more important given recent customer losses on non-U.S. crypto exchanges. Americans deserve safe U.S. markets as an alternative to offshore platforms, and that's why last week I announced that spot crypto can now be traded on CFTC registered exchanges. Today, I am launching a U.S. digital asset pilot program for tokenized collateral, including Bitcoin and the mother of all shitcoin, in our derivatives market that establishes clear guardrails to protect customer assets and provides enhanced CFTC monitoring and reporting. The CFTC is also providing regulatory clarity through tokenized collateral guidance for real-world assets like U.S. Treasuries and withdrawing CFTC requirements that are now outdated under the Genius Act. As I've said before, embracing responsibility, innovation ensures that U.S. markets are the world leader and drives progress that will unleash U.S. economic growth. Market participants can safely put their dollars to work smarter and go further. Anyways, the initial read, obviously, as I was kind of saying a minute ago, is it does kind of lend the idea of what Larry Fink's been saying for a while. He's like, we're going to tokenize all the things, all the equities, all the commodities, everything's going to get put on the blockchain. It's like we've heard that before. We've heard that in 2016, 2017. We're going to tokenize all the things, and everything in the world is going to have its own token. Well, it seems like now that is official. But I think the less cynical read of this is that no longer is Bitcoin kind of the speculative outsider. It's fundamentally being brought inside. They're making the rails here. And I think the powers that be, these regulators, I think they believe that by doing this, they're going to basically be able to control Bitcoin. But I think it's going to be the reverse. Like, they just let the Trojan horse in, and eventually it's all going to lead to Bitcoin being the pristine collateral, which is a lot of what Bitcoiners have been talking about. So this is a quote test pilot. So yeah, they're testing some other things here. But I think it's all going to eventually lead to just Bitcoin being the best collateral, period.
They just need to go back to 2018 to 2021 and they'll get their test results.
Yeah, 100%. So,
like, I don't get why they're talking about this. This is just so stupid.
Well, it is a fundamental shift, like from a quote regulatory stance. Like, this is a revolutionary difference.
I think that this is just, institutions going through what the regular old person went through back in 2017. Again, look between 2018 and 2021, and you will see the future. of all this testing. Everything is gonna have a token. Like, good luck. Good luck. It's been this hard to get people to buy into Bitcoin, which is the hardest asset that has ever existed in the world. Good luck getting people to buy your random token coin and like actually feel like a serious individual.
What do you mean? I thought Fartcoin was taking over the world, Sophie.
I'm dead. I wonder how is like,
Dude,
you
it went
wanna-
up like 15x this year. Like it honestly like outperformed Bitcoin by a lot. Should have known the memes were gonna do well, but that's a totally different conversation.
A lot of the memes did poorly. Like, listen.
Yeah, but it was called Fartcoin. You should have known it was gonna pump. That's the logic behind it. anyways, let's keep it. Oh, wrong one, dude. I'm spazzing out on the soundboard today. Anyways,
'Cause I keep interrupting you.
yeah. I keep muting myself.
No, he wants to mute me, but I keep interrupting him.
Anyways, we'll be right back. I have look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys here. I'm just throwing some bull sauce out here. I fully don't even know what it means, but hey, it makes me feel bullish, so I want to relay it to you guys. So that's literally what I'm doing today on the culture. So one last ad, and we will be right back to wrap up the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank. And you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys. Tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth. And join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io. Join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, guys, you guys are killing it in the chat.
Yeah, seriously.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, doing a good job. Anyways, I saw this post again. Maybe you guys can fully explain this to me. I did kind of like chat GBT this because I don't know what it means, but you know me, my job is to stay stupidly bullish on here. And when I see some bull sauce, you already know I'm going to be talking about it. Okay, I've been staying bullish while everyone around me has become bearish. And so I'm literally going to be, when we pump, I'm going to be so vindicated and so obnoxious about it that I'm starting my victory lap now. And I think it's going to start ripping. Okay. Anyways, here is what I saw. I saw Jordy Visor post this, and he's the guy that did the Bitcoin IPO moment, where he kind of explained what potentially is happening in 2025, where finally Bitcoin is liquid enough that the OG whales are able to kind of sell out or sell part of their stacks without completely demolishing the market. And it seems to be a really good framework of what's going on. And he's actually been doing a lot of good kind of articles similar on his Substack. The last one was something like "There is light at the end of the Bitcoin tunnel" or something like that. It was a good read. I think I was going to cover it, or I might have read a little bit on the show, but he just dropped this chart. Now, again, maybe I'm not the biggest macro guy. You know, I've been dabbling in the macro. But hey, a little bull sauce for you guys on Tuesday to keep you going. That's my job here. Okay. Anyways, he dropped this and he goes, the stock market is giving a warning that Bitcoin is about to rally. Pure volatility, in quotes, beta versus pure profitability, quote, quality, fell hard as Bitcoin fell from 115 to 80, which I believe was right here. This kind of yellow line drop here, and says now beta versus quality has ripped back to highs in 10 of the last 16 days right here, while Bitcoin is trying to gain its footing. Pure volatility versus quality correlated to PMIs over time, higher Bitcoin to come. Again, I chat GBT this because I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? This is like way more macro than I even understand. He's using all these acronyms, you know, I'm just like, what the hell am I reading? Anyways, the TLDR, without reading the whole chat GBT, you know, isms and dashes and all that stuff, was this line right here, which I think is really kind of the big takeaway, that it does feel like this is happening. And if this is what Jordy Visor's saying, if this is what the markets are kind of looking at, is this one sentence. The core idea: risk appetite in equities is coming back fast, and historically that lines up with Bitcoin rallying shortly after. That's the whole thesis right there, that it looks like people are in the stock market looking for more risky bets, you know, more risky investments. And if that money comes back on the table, because we have been contracting as an economy, we have seen, you know, without all the crazy stuff we've seen this year, everyone has pretty much been sitting on the sidelines like, I don't know what to do with my money right now. I have no clue what to do. Again, like I said, you know, 1 week there's a trade war. The next week it's off. One day it's 100% tariffs on China. The next day it's 0. And then the following day it's 150%. It's like no one's been able to really understand what's going on. And especially when you see what's going on with the Fed, something very similar. One day the signal is, hey, the Fed's going to cut rates. The next, they're not. You know, they came out before the last Fed rate cut and they were like, yeah, we're not going to actually cut this. Even the Fed board members themselves were confused on what to do right now. So there's been a lot of uncertainty. But as you can see, it does look, at least this is what ChatGPT is telling me. You know, you guys in the chat could explain this better to me, maybe. You guys with the experience. But it seems like the investors are looking for a little more risk, a little more return, which kind of tells me that the uncertainty in the markets is starting to kind of, you know, ease its way out, and people are starting to make their bets for what's going to happen in 2026. So, hey, if this plays out, I'll show you the chart one more time. It looks like, what would this be? You know, we're going to rip back up to all-time high very shortly, which I'm all for. I have been talking to one of my friends, and I was actually trolling with Sophie. I didn't know if I was going to bring it up because like I am kind of trolling with him, but he's also like kind of serious about it. And I trolled him the other day. I'm like, yo, like, he's getting into astrology now, which is just like hilarious to me. So I'm like, I don't know if I believe it, but I kind of do. And I asked him, like, all right, do the Bitcoin price as like an astrology chart. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, December 10th is when it's rip, and it lines up with the Fed rate cuts. And I'm like, if you're right, you're my official astrologer now.
Bro, everything.
I'm all for the bull sauce.
I didn't understand anything that you just talked about, and now I know how
until it was astrology.
Well, now I know. I was gonna say, now I know how men feel when women talk about astrology. Like, this is it. When you guys chart boy, I'm just like, okay. Like, you can tell the future, but also like you're wrong half the time. It's literally astrology for men.
Well, charts is literally astrology. So, you know, that's why I thought I was gonna add this. But I have let's do Sophie's analogy, because this one's actually kind of funny too. And we're just shooting the shit here, guys. It just, no, this
one's really, really different. Pull up the screenshot that I sent you.
Oh yeah. Wait, hold on. Did you text it to me?
I did text it to you in the group chat.
Oh, in the group chat. Oh yeah, the group chat.
Okay.
Wait. I don't know if I can I show this group chat? Hold on.
No, just pull up the screenshot, dude.
I know, give me a second.
Okay, yeah, but just to give you a little bit of background,
I got it.
I am part of a different group chat. It's a mom group chat.
This one.
It's
Here we
specifically
go.
a mom group chat that is exclusively a lot of Bitcoiners. And we all got pregnant at the same time, completely by chance. We did not plan this. We're not even that close of friends. But you know, over time we've become friends. And at the time that we all had our children, the price of Bitcoin in, you know, I gave it a range between January 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2024. The price went from 42,582 to 71,333. We are all pregnant again at the same time. At the same damn time. This, like, again, not planned, but it's like the craziest thing, and it's so weird. And so now my point of this,
Yeah, your
of
astrology chart.
my astrology chart of we're going to the moon is all of us Bitcoin moms, our children are gonna bring the price up. And if that happens, honestly, like we all gotta like talk about making this happen again for a third time, because
Yeah,
we're,
just
we're
keep
single-handedly carrying the price of Bitcoin on our backs.
Yo, there's this comment in here that's crazy. Robert's crazy in the chat. That's that's a good one, dude.
No. All the comments have been going crazy.
Oh
today.
my god, that was funny, man. Well,
But yeah, no, that's a true story. Obviously not going to name any names, but like a lot of us, I think it's like at least like 5 of us are like a week apart in our due dates, and it's really crazy. And I guess I'll let you know if this conspiracy theory is real.
yeah, well, you know, I think your theory on Bitcoin moms getting pregnant to pump the price is as good a theory as astrology and Bitcoin. So I'm glad we did this today.
You know what? Everything is energy.
Everything
is vibes and energy, and the market is heavily speculative. So I'm not even joking about that. Like, people put money down for things based on how they feel about it. It's not really always about the charts. The charts provide these feelings, and so I feel totally valid in my analysis.
Chill. Yeah, that was like the most Miami thing I've ever heard on the show.
Was it? I feel like it was more
totally.
LA. It was giving more LA,
Oh,
like Valley
man.
Girl, kind of like crystals and
that
yoga.
Was wild. That was wild. Anyways, as you can tell, we got to get off the show, or else it's gonna really go downhill and off the rails. So
we should have an after show. I've said this for so long, where like I can be unleashed, because no one's ever.
We don't. I don't think our brand can handle Sophie Unleashed.
That would be a Rumble exclusive. Okay,
I don't even
that would
think
be a
it can
Rumble
make it
and
to
X
Rumble.
exclusive. And yeah.
I don't think it can make it to Rumble.
No, Nico would literally come here and just like pull me off air, be like, "You're done. You're done."
That's literally what I'm doing right now. That's exactly what is happening right now. All right, guys. Look, I hope you enjoyed this show.
Guys,
No, dude, you're muted. Get out of here.
Nico's ending the Fed by pumping the price. That's been the best conspiracy line
he's
here.
not doing a good job at pumping the price. I'll tell you that much.
Well, just wait. Baby's not here yet. Just wait.
I get it now. Okay. All right. Enough. All right. You know, Sophie, I made the mistake of having you speak at the end of the show before. I'm not going to make that again. So she's completely cut off today. On that note, guys, I love you guys. We love you guys. Yeah, I don't know about that. More like Simply Bitcoin done forever. Yeah, more like Simply wrecked. All right, guys. Again, enough joking. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Smash the like button, comment on the show, subscribe, all that good stuff. We will be back tomorrow at roughly 12:40 p.m. I know it says 12:16, but roughly 12:40. You know, it takes a lot to be this beautiful and animated and charismatic on the show. So I have to doom scroll before a little bit and, you know, unwind, and then I lose my shit on the show. This is how the magic happens. So quit yelling at me about it. because I'm not going to change. All right. Anyways, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Actually, are you dropping a show tonight?
I dropped a show this morning. You guys should totally check it out.
I was totally aware of that.
It's a lot going on. All right. It's a lot going on. But if you love the show, go check it out. It's about the EU censoring people. What's new? What is new is that now they fined Elon Musk $140 million. So you should check that out. You should see how that affects Bitcoin and how we are kind of doing a version of that here in the United States. So check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you like the show, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button. We love you guys. We love all the support that you guys give us. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And so thank you.
Yep. Cosign, 100% cosign. All right, bros. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We are out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.